Believe in Everything Auburn is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. So head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That is BLEAV. BetOnline, where the game starts. War Eagle, everyone. Welcome back to Believe in Everything Auburn. I am Taylor Davis, joined as always by the man himself, Jason Campbell. J Cam, Smooth. I'm losing track of all your nicknames, and the more guests we have on here, the more they're adding up, you know?
And it seems like the older I get, I lose on some of my nicknames. You know?
Maybe so.
Yeah, so it's slimming down to just like 2 or 3 now. So
okay.
I'm losing a little bit of the smooth C17. But some people are saying now instead of smooth C, big smooth. So
wow. It's evolving.
So, I mean,
that's life.
So, it's the 40 and older type stuff, So I'm just kind of in that middle stage right now of my nicknames. But, voila, what's going on? Taylor has the full pink suit on today, representing for the podcast,
Thank you for reminding me to tell our listeners, in case you're only listening as a podcast, we are once again doing a video element. We are on Believe's YouTube channel, if you care to check out said pink suit. We are also doing that because we have another interview lined up for you today, which we are so excited. This is a great time of year. We always talk about, it's a little slower and there's not as much for us to, be breaking down film-wise or game or practice, though that is about to change. But it is a good time for us to get to catch up with guys that are currently on the team, like we did in our last episode where running back Jarquez Hunter joined us. If you have not seen that one, make sure you go back and check it out. But this week, we are actually going to be catching up with a transfer player, a new addition to the Tigers roster. We've got linebacker Austin Keys, who is going to be joining us in just a few minutes to talk about this transitional period for him and honestly his decision why Auburn. That's going to be one of my first questions for him. So we're excited to welcome him in and meet one of the new faces that the Auburn fan base will be welcoming into Jordan-Hare this fall. So we've got a great episode for you. And yes, I am in bright pink because I am ready for spring and summer. It is an homage to what is to come, warm weather, and then football abounding because spring practice is about to begin. So we are going to catch up on a few random news and notes before we bring in Austin Keys. So hope everyone has had a fantastic week a couple of weeks since we last spoke. But J-Cam is actually in Ole Auburn right now. He's down on the plains, going to be attending the big old basketball game tonight, right, Jay?
Yeah, this is a must-win game. I don't understand why these games are so late either.
What time do they tip?
8 o'clock Central, which is 9 o'clock.
That is crazy.
So most people go to bed at 10, 10:30. Not me. I'm a night owl. But
Are you?
at the same time, though, this is a game that Auburn has to win, and they have to win it consistently because right now they're trying to get the NCAA tournament to give them a reason to stay in and not eliminate Auburn out of the tournament come March Madness. So these next 4 games are very crucial. I think we really have to get 2 of the 4, but to be safe, we need to get 3 of the 4. And I would say the main 2 at home, Ole Miss and then Tennessee, and then see if we can steal the Kentucky game on Saturday in Lexington. So it's getting down to the nitty gritty. And for Auburn, March Madness is starting now because you are pretty much in playoff mode. And this game is it's going to be a fun game tonight. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the team bounce back after a tough Vanderbilt loss. If you didn't see that game on Saturday, man, that was a tough way to lose. 2 seconds on the clock and, in a tough environment. A lot of Auburn people were there. I don't know if you saw Tiger Walk, but it was
I did.
Auburn in Nashville. So, the Nashville Auburn Club that showed up and turned out and had a great supporting cast.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Bruce Pearl said in the post game, another heartbreaking loss. There have been a few of those down the stretch for this team, and you get to the point where you bang your head against the wall a little bit and go, when are you going to get one of these? And the players feel that way too. They're very transparent about that. So clearly, we're starting with basketball in this episode because why the frick not? I think that it's very timely considering where they are right now, and I think you acknowledged it that these are must wins at this point. This team is essentially in tournament mentality if they want to make a postseason run. And look, it doesn't get any easier what they have ahead. Ole Miss tonight, like you said, you still have Kentucky, Alabama, Tennessee for senior night, which will be tough. And then you head in to the SEC tournament in Nashville. But Bruce Pearl said after, the Vanderbilt loss, losing more from here could be irreparable. Like you get to a point where it's like, okay, it's win or go home, essentially. A win over Missouri was sandwiched in there, but really since we've spoken, losses again to Texas A&M. And then, of course, the one at Vanderbilt. What do you attribute that to, Jay? I mean, basketball is a game of that nature, right? Where it is just sometimes that's how it's going to go. But the fact that Auburn has had so many of those, and, you and I have talked about the officiating issues in the past and some of that has been prevalent in college basketball this season. That's not just us being victim mentality. That's been a storyline this season. But apart from that, what is lacking that is preventing them from really putting some of those away?
We need a closure. We don't really have a closer. Willow Green is a really good basketball player and everything, but you think about from his size, how he gets worn down from a long game. He's not a big, huge guy. And, he's pushing the ball 90 feet up and down the court most nights. And, sometimes it's a man on him. And, he's exhausting a lot of energy. And you kind of need someone else when the game gets late. They still got their legs up underneath them. There's someone that can kind of say, hey, everyone get out of the way. I can get us too. And, we really just don't have that because we struggle from the outside shooting. Yes, KD Johnson hit a big three-pointer we thought was going to send that into overtime. But, we end up having a defensive breakdown where we let the guy get to the paint and get to the board and make a layup off the backboard. So, a lot of it is we're playing really good defense lately. And the positive is we've been in control of all these games, West Virginia, Tennessee, even the Alabama game at home. And, and then this game against Vanderbilt on Saturday. So we're where we want to be when it get late in games, but you got to have that one guy that can say, hey, put it on his shoulders and you can get 2 points from him. And
Right.
And he will draw a crowd. That's the other thing about a great basketball player. He draws a crowd, which he makes people get open. So it's just like LeBron and Kobe's back in the day, Steph Curry, like they draw a crowd. And when that guy comes, you got to have those Klay Thompson style shooters. You got to have those Steve Kerr style shooters. You got to have those guys that can hit the shot when you need it most because they're drawing double teams. So we just don't have that right now. And I think it's hurting us as we get ready to move forward. But hopefully, we can close out some of these games coming down these next 4 because it's all about getting hot at the right time.
Yeah.
We've been close to getting hot, but we just haven't been able to turn it over just yet. And we got to cut down the costly turnovers.
Yeah.
We go up on Vanderbilt the other day by 3. And we get a rebound, we're pushing for a fast break, and we turn the ball over half court. And then next thing you know, they get 2 points, a layup. And now it's back to 1 point. So you just can't have those costly turnovers at the wrong time in ball games, especially under that last 5 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah, that's been brutal. I think you make a good point. I feel like we've kind of talked about sometimes, this team is dead set on being something that they aren't showing they can be in that particular game. And I think it's because they've kind of rotated who's going to have that big game. It's not the consistency of knowing, hey, Jabari's out there. You know what I mean? Like there are those guys where you just know that's their role. When your back is against the wall, that's when they step up and shine. And, we've talked about KD and he'll have a good game, and then he kind of has a couple where you're like, hey, we need KD back going. Same thing with Wendell. He's got a good game, and then you've got one where he's like, well, it wasn't Wendell's best game. Like, there is talent across the board, but who's that one consistent star? It feels like in today's college basketball, if you don't have that, you are going to have a lot of these heartbreaking losses. That's ultimately why West Virginia beat us, because the Stevenson kid, nothing was coming out of his hands that was not going in, And so like when they were in a tough crunch, when we were really pushing down and closing the score gap, they got the ball to him and they came away with the win. So I think without having that consistent shooter, that consistent star, you are kind of in that, okay, we got to try and pull a rabbit out of a hat here and make something happen. And we don't really know whose night it is because it changes every game. That's why some of these are happening. So I think that's a good way to look at it.
And I was hoping that we could use Broom more down on the inside. You know, he's gotten better this year. When the season first starts, where he's at now, he's become a phenomenal player.
He has.
At the same time, I just think, you just gotta. It's an outside game. It used to be an inside game back in the 90s, and maybe some of the early 2000s. But now it is an outside game, and you gotta have those shooters around the perimeter that can set apart. That's why we went so far in 2019. That's
all they did,
because we shot the ball really well from the outside. If you look at last year's tournament, how it went down to the wire with Kansas and North Carolina end up being the final two teams. What happened? Both of those teams could shoot the ball from the outside, but they also had two bigs on the inside that could rebound really well and get them that extra opportunity. So that's going to be our thing here. We're going to have to get extra rebounds because we're not as good as a shooting team. We got to get up more shots. So we can't be limited when it comes to our shots. So we're going to have to get up to 65, 70 points a game just to be able to win a lot of these.
Right. Well, it certainly will start tonight. Hopefully they can get it done against Ole Miss at home. J Cam will be in the house, so hopefully we can talk about a good result on the next episode. But it's actually a very busy weekend of sports on the Plains. So baseball season has officially begun. This past weekend, they hosted their first series of the season, winning it 2-1 against Indiana. They also defeated North Alabama yesterday. And now because of a schedule change, they were supposed to be going out to California this weekend, but now they are actually going to be hosting USC. So you weren't expecting to have baseball on the Plains this weekend, but you got it now. USC will be coming to town Friday through Sunday. I also think the weather's going to be pretty nice. So if you're in and around the Auburn area, go check out some baseball. You can also check out some gymnastics because the gymnastics team will be hosting Georgia on Friday night in Neville Arena. They will begin at 6:30, and that is going to be a Navy meet. So if you are going, make sure you wear Navy. The gymnastics team had a bit of an uncharacteristic meet this past weekend against Missouri. They lost 197-45 to 196-55, but look, still top 5 in the nation, and we are getting closer and closer to postseason in that as well. The SEC championship will be in Duluth, Georgia, so we'll see how all of that fares. That happens in March, but this week they will be hosting Georgia, so we will continue to support them, and baseball season begins, and on Monday, spring football begins. Oh, and the basketball chaos. So it is just lots of things happening in Auburn this week. What you got, Jay?
Well, speaking on the football aspect of things,
let's do it.
Talking with Coach Freeze today, him starting spring ball on February 28th wasn't his idea. So that was already preset before he got the job. So,
by the other coaching staff?
Well, somehow through the SEC or however, it wasn't his way to want to start spring ball. He wanted to start it 2 weeks later than now.
I'm sure.
Our strength staff 8 weeks of full training and different things to get these guys in shape and get stronger. So that wasn't by design. So he said, most coaches get 10 days off in February because of the dead period.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he's not going to be able to give his coaches that off because the spring schedule got sprung on them so quickly and so early. So, they're just willing to adapt and change. But, so that's what's going on. And
so A-Day on Masters Saturday was not Hugh Freeze's idea.
That was not Hugh Freeze's idea. So because of A-Day being on April the 8th, it caused spring ball to start February 28th.
Right.
Because that's as early as I can remember spring ball starting in Auburn. It's always started
It
like
is
middle
early.
March.
Yeah.
And so, so I just want people to know that that wasn't by design.
Okay.
So that you know. But then softball, if you haven't been
Softball.
paying attention, learn about Maddie Penta.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, she's a right-hand softball pitcher. She can throw it. She was first team All SEC in 2022. She was all freshman. She's one of the top 3 pitchers coming out of high school. She's from Maryland as well. So, make sure you check out Maddie Penta and the girls softball team as their season has kicked off.
That's awesome. This is always such a fun time at Auburn, even though we all love football as much as we do. But when this many sports are going on at once, and you can kind of feel the weather is getting closer to getting warm and people are outside more. Like, I just remember as a student, once, baseball and softball and basketball was still happening, like there was just such activity and buzz around campus. I always loved it. Well, speaking of football, do want to discuss something that has been circulating lately, some potential rule changes being proposed for college football. And obviously this has been a conversation point in the past with the goal of shortening the length of college football games and trying to alleviate some of the dead time that exists in these games. So some of the rules being discussed are outlawing consecutive timeouts. So it would prevent one timeout from being called right after the other, which happens usually when teams are trying to ice kickers. Not extending quarters. So a first or third quarter would not be extended for an untimed down if the quarter ends on a defensive penalty. In that case, the down would be clocked in the next quarter. Running clock, which according to this rule, the clock will continue to run after an offense gains a first down, except inside 2.5 minutes. And another running clock rule, which has a lot of controversy, have the clock continue to run after an incomplete pass once the ball has been spotted for play. Obviously, none of these have been fully implemented. They're just being discussed and talked about right now. Jay, what are your thoughts on those?
Yeah, a lot of those are NFL rules. When you talk about the back-to-back timeouts, when you talk about the clock, not stopping until you get the 2 minutes left in the game.
Yep.
Kind of NFL is so interesting because a lot of games are won or lost in the last 2 minutes. Trying to shorten the game of college football. If you think about the NFL, it's a 3-hour game. Colleges sometimes goes 3 hours and 45 to 4 hours. So it's a long game. And because now it comes down to due to TV deals, how those are going to work out because they want to try to see how many games they can actually get within a day. I like most of the changes. I don't like the incomplete pass one where you throw an incomplete pass and then the clock.
Yeah.
Like that one I don't like because even in the NFL, there's an incomplete pass, this clock stops. So, that puts a lot of pressure. It's going to cut most teams probably down 8 to 10 plays if you really want to do an overall analogy. It's not going to cost, it's not a ton of plays that get cuts out of the game, but it will be 8 to 10. From a standpoint of that is, your quarterback's really going to have to manage the clock really well. I think because they throw the ball a lot more in college football than they do in the NFL, it causes the game to be a lot longer. So there are more incomplete passes, but because if you watch the Super Bowl game felt fast.
It flew. It was so fast.
Yeah, it felt so fast. Even with a long halftime, it still felt fast. So, I understand what they're trying to do. I understand that. So I just, I hope that they don't do the incomplete pass one because that one will kind of throw a loop because my whole thing is keep football too. Let's not
man.
Like let's keep this thing like we start making all these rule changes every year. You don't be able to keep up with things.
Yeah, seriously. We're changing so much at one time. It's crazy, but we'll see what actually comes of it, but interesting to keep you guys in the loop. Before we get to our chat with Austin Keys, I'm a decent loser. I wouldn't say I'm a good loser, but I'm a decent loser. And my Super Bowl prediction was wrong. And I said on our last episode, whoever won, because Jay and I picked opposite teams, would get to come on here and brag. And he is so kind and so good-hearted and hasn't rubbed it in my face. I can't say I would have done the same if roles were reversed. But nonetheless, The Chiefs did defeat the Eagles in the Super Bowl 38-35. Just an unbelievable game with such a wah-wah ending. I was just so disappointed. I mean, was it a hold? Yeah. Do you call it? I don't freaking know. I mean, that it's set up to be an ending for the ages. It was already a game for the ages, just like back and forth and so highly competitive. Like, that's what the national championship should have been, not the TCU Georgia BS, like these were the two best teams in the league. So it showcased that, and it was so entertaining and engaging. And then you just watch that's how it ends. It just felt like the worst ending to like the best meal. It's like the meal was top notch, and then your dessert gave you food poisoning,
Yeah, two really good quarterbacks playing really well this year. Jalen had a really good year this year, and then Mahomes has continued to do what Mahomes does. And the only reason I picked the Chiefs wasn't because of the players, because I thought from top to bottom, Philly had the best players. I just feel like Andy Reid had more experience.
True.
Being in the Super Bowl as a head coach. And, I think Nick Sirianni has done a really good job with the Eagles, but at the same time, I just feel like when it comes to the Super Bowl, there's so many distractions, and it's all about like, I wasn't even concerned about Jalen, because Jalen has played in national championships. He's played on the big stages. So I said, okay, it wouldn't really bother him. But there's a lot of other guys on that team that there's a lot going on. And let's face it, both teams came out and played extremely hard. I will say the football field was terrible.
It was so bad.
We have to have guys to make it that far to play in a Super Bowl game, the game of their life, and to play on that type of field. The NFL has to be held accountable because, luckily no one was seriously injured, but there was a lot of slipping going on major plays, and it happened for both teams. So, like both teams said, hey, it was on both sides, so win or lose. But I'll say this though, you were right. Was it a hole? Yes. Could have been given away. Yeah, you could have kind of let it ride because it was within 5 yards, and he hasn't just gotten his route. But it's easier for us to say because who knows, that little tug or pull didn't keep him from creating separation where Mahomes could have hit him for a touchdown or
right.
So it's just all about how you look at it. For the viewers, yes, you want to see it not called because you're like, okay, a 3-point game, and 90% sure that Philly would have got in field goal range to take this thing to overtime.
Sure.
I really think that would have happened.
Me too.
Because they haven't been stopped really all day either, and they had a great strategy. They ball control, they hit the big plays and everything. But hey, the game was a really great game.
It was.
The ending, like I said, nothing you could do about it. But at the end of the day, at least we got a chance to see a 4-quarter football game. We didn't get to see a blowout like we did in the national championship, because TCU kind of ended up in the playoffs because of people. Well, you can't have 2 SEC schools and 2 Big Ten teams. Like,
okay.
So this is what you want to get, because
exactly.
So hey.
Nonetheless, before we get into Austin Keys, can we talk about halftime?
Hey, you brought it up.
Did you love it? Because I have watched it on YouTube 8 million times since.
I was kind of like in the middle.
Oh, frick.
I say why I was in the middle. I was in the middle because, I'm so used to Rihanna when she does a show. Like, Rihanna's really like dancing and getting into it. And then all of a sudden she walked out there and I was like, whoa.
Yep.
She's pregnant.
She's pregnant.
Yeah, she's pregnant.
Yes.
They always say don't ever tell a woman she's pregnant or not pregnant.
Oh, no, that was her announcement. Like, which is also incredible. Like, you announce your pregnancy on the freaking halftime show at the Super Bowl. Like, iconic.
But then when I saw that, I was like, oh, got it.
You get it.
I will say it was pretty cool, her being way up high and how they had everybody set up. But did you see all the coordination with all the dancers, though?
Yes.
Do you know how much practice had to go into that aspect? That's what people don't realize.
Yes.
All the, like, yes, she's the centerpiece, she's the vocal, but everyone else around there was like on point.
Yes.
So
many.
And it was a lot of them. It covered the whole football field. So crazy. I thought, I liked it. Saying a lot of people get mixed views. Of course, you can't please everybody, but from a woman being pregnant.
Incredible. My thing is, I feel like, we get so used to Super Bowl halftime being this big production. I mean, Lady Gaga jumped into the stadium from the roof. Katy Perry had like a huge robot tiger. Like, we've gotten all of these like crazy production moments over the years, but there are some artists who have earned the right to just showcase their music. And Rihanna is one of those. All of those songs back to back to back to back to back. We aren't just saying like, oh yeah, I remember that. No, that song had like everyone in a chokehold at the time that it came out, every single one. And I went and looked up a list of like her biggest hits. There were like 7 that I was like, I can't believe Disturbia. She didn't even do Disturbia. And like, that song was huge. Like, she has had more freaking hits than like so many mainstream artists right now, that for me, she's freaking earned it to just stand up there and remind you how many good songs she has.
She was a solo artist. She didn't need any collaboration.
Agreed.
And it is also tough because last year you come off LA when Snoop and Dr. Dre and Eminem and everybody came out, and then all of a sudden she came out this year and she hit it with her solo. So like I said, she has so many hits, and some of them I forgot about. And
that's what I'm saying.
It was like bringing them in. I was like, oh wow, I remember that one. But
yeah, so good.
Like, for someone that's get on the big stage like that, and this is her first real show since having her last baby.
Since 2017, she's been done with music for years.
Right. So she don't need it. She got a makeup line that makes $1 billion a year.
Her makeup line makes more than her music career, which is insane when you think about how many freaking bangers she's had. Like, just insane. I thought it was incredible. She is a queen, and to have done it all pregnant is incredible. Not just the performance. Right. How many months have they been practicing that? And she was in her first trimester. Like, you got to think about like logistically what all she's been going through while in the beginning stages of her pregnancy. Like, just incredible. But anywho, we are going to bring in Austin Keys, again, transfer at linebacker, a transfer from Ole Miss that the Tigers have gained this past offseason. So we're so excited I'll be meeting him for the first time and get to chat with him a little bit about his decision and his expectations for his career on the Plains. So we will get to that, and then we will be back next week. Spring practice will have officially begun, and hopefully we'll have some input from that and get you going closer and closer to season. So until we talk again, War Eagle, enjoy Austin Keys. All right, people. Well, as promised, our esteemed guest joins us now. Like Jay and I mentioned, we have transfer linebacker Austin Keys here with us now, a transfer from Ole Miss, now on the Plains and ready to head into spring practice pretty quickly as an Auburn Tiger. So, Austin, hopefully you're used to hearing War Eagle by now because we say it a lot. So, War Eagle, and welcome to the podcast. We're so pumped to get to chat with you a little bit, but I guess let's kind of start big picture, man. I mean, have you settled in? You find a place to live? Like, what have the past couple months been like?
It's really been hectic. As a quick turnaround from Ole Miss, I had to come like I was already behind a week of class, so coming in late, it's kind of quick, like a quick adjustment. So I had to adjust myself and adjust my little dog, settled in. So yeah.
You saw how you threw that little dog in there, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll circle back to that. Don't you worry.
Hey, Austin, tell everybody where you from and everything, man. Let everybody know, what background you come from.
Oh man, I come from a little small town right out of Taylorsville, Mississippi. It's called Summerland, Mississippi. But if you want me to claim Taylorsville, I will. It's Taylorsville, Mississippi. Most of my life, I moved when I was 10 to Collins, Mississippi, and went to school at Seminary High School and finished there. And I continued my football career at Ole Miss and came here after my 3 seasons at Ole Miss.
So, Taylor, you heard what he said. Taylorsville, Summerland, that's where I'm from. That's where,
I know.
We got something in the soil down there.
I was waiting on it.
So, we got the right man in the right place at the right time.
Oh, geez. So, here we go. Something in the water down there, man. I mean, we had Jarquez recently, also a Mississippi guy. So there's something working for y'all. I don't know.
It's talk around locker room. We Mississippi invading Auburn, so
it's so true. Well, look, man, talk to us a little bit about what that whole process is like, specifically for you, because I think everyone that enters the portal, you're looking for different things, maybe different priorities factor in, but for you, it is within the conference. Heck, it's within the division. So what were you kind of looking for, and what ultimately made it seem like Auburn checked that box for you?
I just needed a fresh start, first off.
Yeah.
I did feel like I needed a fresh start. I was moving too fast around Ole Miss and Oxford. I got bigger plans now, so I just needed a fresh start. When I heard a lot of good things about Freeze too.
Yeah.
I have that played under Freeze, and when I first met with Freeze, and I looked at my mom and I was like, yeah, this is it.
Wow.
So it's really a blessing. So I'm just ready to get to work for him.
Yeah, talk about, y'all got an early spring coming up. Next week y'all step on the field and get things rolling. So talk about like what you've seen so far that you like about the coaching staff, what you like about Auburn, and everything, and how you feel like you're gonna fit in with Coach Aldridge in this defense.
The coaching staff they're very on the fly. They want us to pick up stuff and produce well on the field. And I like that. It's very encouraging to see like the coaches want to put in as much time as the players do. So,
Yeah.
I need around me, it's something I look for. I'm ready. Like I said, I was ready to get to work on.
Well, you mentioned you obviously were in Oxford. You had 3 seasons under your belt, and this past season kind of seems like a breakout season for you in a way. Looking at your numbers, you had a career high 39 tackles this past season. So from an individual perspective, where do you think you are in your game right now? What kind of allowed you to kind of tap into that level last season? And ideally, you bring it with you to Auburn, right?
Yes, ma'am. Like I was saying, like coaches, like being around coaches that push me and want me to get better, that just, and teammates that push you and want you to get better, it just pushes like another level in you.
Yeah.
And, it just makes you deep inside. But you ain't seen nothing yet. I'm not done.
I like it.
And talk about, because in y'all defense, Coach Roberts, he likes to run a 34 defense, but he also likes to run a 4-3 at sometimes, like being able to be versatile. Talk about as a linebacker, which one do you kind of lean towards more that you look forward to, the 4-3 or more the 34?
I'm looking more 4-3, kind of being free, let me do what I want to do best. But, at the end of the day, like I said, I just want to play ball, make plays, put me in the right position to do that.
And kind of tell the listeners what's the difference for a linebacker from a 34 defense compared to a 4-3 defense.
Let's see, a 4-3, you got 4 down defensive linemen. You got 3 linebackers on the field. Sometimes it's just Mike Will with another nickelback. And you got 3-4, you got 3 down linemen with 4 linebackers listed, but it usually be like 2 nickelbacks and 2 inside or outside linebackers.
You just seem like a ball player. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like they're just some dudes that are like, it ain't all about like the details and all of that. Like I just want to play ball. Like that's just the sense I get from you.
Like I said, I'm just blessed to be here, man. It's just a long way. So at the end of the day, I just want to play ball.
That's awesome. I mean, jumping the gun here a little bit, but I'm sure it crosses your mind as a transfer, like what it'll be like one day to suit up and play against your former teammates. I mean, you're in the same division. It's gonna happen, right? Have you thought about what that'll be like?
Every day, I suited up against former teammates. Being at Ole Miss and watching people transfer in and out. So I know I can see. Like I can't wait to see how that feels. Actually,
yeah, they come to us this year, so you're gonna have that crowd noise behind you.
It's
going
true.
90,000.
Right.
90,000.
Right. So talk about real quickly, we talk about the other transfer guys that came in with you. You got Justin Rogers, you got Moselle Kite, Lawrence Johnson, you got DeMario Tolan, Elijah McAllister. Talk about those guys, the impact that you've already seen from them as a D-line standpoint, just in workouts, just in getting to know each other. How do all y'all like come together, on your free time as far as like, talking about things that y'all want to achieve this year at Auburn?
Free time, we don't get as much of it, but as much time as we have, we'll just call each other, check in, go eat every now and then if we want to, or if we can, just spend extra time at the facility, just catching up on plays, seeing how other people doing this walkthrough, learning other people's jobs. That's another big thing. So you got to know everybody's job as a linebacker. So I got to know what the D-line doing. I'm trying to make sure everybody's straight. So. that goes along with everything.
I feel like if there's an easy time to be a transfer player, you've kind of found it in Auburn because it is such a transitional period for everybody. You know,
Right.
even the guys that have been there forever, it's a whole new coaching staff. I'm sure conversations have happened about what last year was like and how different this is going to be. You're in a new facility that just opened. Like it's new for everybody.
Yes, it is. Coach Freeze called it flipping the script. So that's what we're looking to do right now.
That's cool. And that'll help with the team cohesion, I would assume, too, because it's not going to feel like new guys, old guys. It's just like, hey, we're all in this together.
Right. Everybody's adjusting on the fly right now.
Totally. That's pretty cool. Well, speaking of, man, I mean, that facility.
Palace.
Right? That ain't a hard place to sell. You know what I mean?
That's it. Blessings.
Oh,
talk about that little dog you got, man.
Yeah, let's go back to that.
Dog, man.
My dog, I got a little pocket bully. I got him when he was 3 months old. His name is Major. He stays with me, goes everywhere I go. Spring break, he's going with me home.
That is awesome. Well, let's do a little
man.
rapid fire, Jay, because I know that we were kind of wanting to get to know you a little bit better off the field. So let's just ping pong asking him different questions. Have you gotten to try many restaurants around Auburn yet? And what's kind of your go-to food?
I really haven't.
Okay.
I probably ate like hibachi and called Makitas or some
Makadas.
Makadas. Okay, I did go there. Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is kind of a go-to.
You're set. You're set. Welcome to Auburn.
Chick-fil-A is definitely
I would say this one, man. What's your favorite food the night before a big game?
Oh, favorite food. Probably I say mashed potatoes.
Ooh.
Okay, starch.
Salmon.
See
what the honey glazed salmon, just not the regular salmon, but the honey glazed salmon.
Very specific.
Rice.
Okay.
Mashed potatoes, a good salad. It's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, meat and sides. You got to go to Panny George's. It's on College Street. They do like meat and sides. It's home cooking. Oh, it's really good.
Okay. Yeah, I ain't got everywhere around here yet, but
you'll learn.
Yeah, right.
Okay, what is one word you would use to describe yourself as a player?
Blessed.
Oh, wow.
That's it. That. Blessed.
That's awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
I would say this. Approximately how many hours a night do you study?
Football?
Yeah.
Hours a night. I say maybe an hour and a half, 2, just watching, looking over plays. And sometimes it's just not even at nighttime. It's just walking around the house bored, and I just cut on some film.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's quick transition, so I got to pick up fast.
Totally. What is your favorite social media platform?
Probably Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook.
Facebook. Interesting.
Yeah, I heard Facebook in so long.
I know. You're too young for that. Wait a minute.
I got an old spirit.
You do. You're wise, man.
I like listening to R&B and blues.
I love that.
Hey, I know where that's coming from.
Hey, you know it. You know
it. All right, a couple more and we'll let you go. What advice would you give a high school you? If you was in high school coming out again, what advice that you learned throughout the years, what would you give yourself to these young guys coming out of high school now?
That's good.
I say never give up and definitely stay in your books. You know, I was at a point where I gave up before I actually started to love football in high school. So I believe if I didn't give up, you know, I would be blessed to even do even more and know even more. But it'd be definitely just staying down to something you want to do and do it to your best ability, because you never know when that time's gonna come, and you never know what could happen the next day.
Yeah. That's good. My last one will be, who were some players that you looked up to growing up? Favorite players?
I watch Fred Warner now. I watch Ray Wood, Darius Leonard. That's just a few, but it's kind of it's some more back in my head. That's just off top.
Who's your pro team?
Saints.
Nice.
I should have done that one.
Yeah.
I've been a Saints fan.
Yeah, I'll say that. Down there is all Saints fans. My last one. Outside of Auburn, what stadium you look forward to playing in this season?
Oh yeah.
I'd probably say Cal, because I never been to California, so I'll probably say Cal. That's probably one of them.
Yeah. Check one off the list.
Yeah.
Well, Austin, we are so thrilled to have you in Auburn. I hope you feel welcomed and at home on the plains, and you're in for a treat, man. The Auburn family, it's support. Like, I mean, we're biased, but I would put it up against any in the country. So I hope you get settled in. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. I'm sure we will definitely chat with you more the closer season gets, and we're looking forward to seeing what you do in the orange and blue. So thank you again.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all.